Hello and welcome. This is NTA Tuesday Live and I'm Cyril Stober. As Africa's most populous nation, Nigeria holds a significant position in the international energy sector. The nation is at a crossroads, facing pressing energy security and sustainability issues that necessitate a strategic shift towards renewable energy and eco-friendly alternatives, including natural gas. Now, to efficiently expand its energy sector, Nigeria must focus on climate change mitigation and robust energy security, guided by comprehensive laws and regulations. This includes a focus on ensuring access to energy that is clean, affordable, secure, and sustainable. Now, despite its status as the continent's leading oil producer, Nigeria confronts regional security challenges that affect its energy production and distribution. The nation's struggle with a limited electricity generation capacity and heavy reliance on less sustainable energy sources poses significant barriers to achieving an inclusive energy transition and broader socioeconomic advancement. Addressing these challenges is crucial, and it requires the implementation of strong legal and regulatory framework. These frameworks should foster the growth of renewable energy, particularly in off-grid areas, and reinforce commitments to energy security, environmental sustainability, and zero emissions. Well, tonight on NTA Tuesday Live, we'll discuss renewable energy and the emerging state of electricity in Nigeria. But before we go into the conversation, let's get to see this report by energy correspondent Joshua Ojito.
Nigeria's power story is changing. States now have the right to run their own electricity markets. Renewables are no longer on the sidelines. They are taking the spotlight. Renewable surge is real, with solar mini-grids lighting up communities.
We also have solar mini-grids, solar microgrids springing up all across the country because of the good sunlight that we have. Now, the power sector is getting closer to the people. So when states start playing in this sector, they not only taking up responsibility to fulfill their electoral promise, they are also able to protect the power infrastructure.
Driving the renewable energy revolution is the Rural Electrification Agency, with basket of interventions for subnationals to assess and improve supply in their domains. The agency is also mobilizing developers to states, putting fresh money on the table.
The ROA carry the instrument of sovereign instrument. There is no state that can access funds like the ROA will do, because ROA is seen to be representing Nigeria. What this program tends to portray is that it's going to help you can see the energy being unleashed. Investors want places. Nigeria in the telecom sector has proven that is a success story. And the electricity sector equally has the potential. So this program, in its inherent capacity, will move us beyond the potentials to creating a robust economy. It's speaking to different critical sectors.
Experts say the energy mix could finally crack Nigeria's power puzzle. But how fast are the states leveraging opportunities in the renewables?
I want to encourage all the subnational to key into the Renewable program that they've done well, and they could do more, especially our chief executives at the subnational, our governors. They need to fund power projects. They don't come cheap. Funding is required from FDIs, from private sector, from the World Bank, from the governors, and so they will show very serious interest The developers will just come to your state if they don't see that you are serious. The counterpart funding that is required from the state, I believe that the governors should do well to attend to that.
While the momentum in establishing state electricity market is high, experts say there must be deliberate action to turn promise into power. For millions still in darkness, the answer cannot come soon enough. One thing is clear: the future of Nigeria's electricity is no longer a dream. It's in motion, and the spotlight is on the states. Joshua Ojito.
And that report sets the tone for tonight's discussion. Let's start off by introducing our guests. We'd like to welcome to this program Dr. Surajo A. Musa. He's an engineer. He's Commissioner for Power and Energy of Jigawa State. Thanks for being here with us.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Right. Let me also welcome Abba Abubakar Aliyu, Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of the Rural Electrification Agency, Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Right. And also joining us tonight is Professor Magnus Onoha, President, Governing Council, Nigeria's Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Association Alliance. Thanks for being here, Prof.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me once again. Right.
It's all about renewable energy and the emerging state of electricity in Nigeria. At some point, the program goes interactive. You know, as usual, that when it's that time, we'll remind you of the process and the procedure. But let's go straight to the issues. We wouldn't be saying anything new tonight if we said that a large proportion of the nation's population are unable to see this program or are watching this program by way of having other sources of energy and not as we know it, regular power supply. So the issues are clear here. Let's start by understanding the state of electricity in Nigeria. That's a good way to start. And we'll start with Engineer Surajo Musa.
Thank you very much. Let me start by saying that this is something that is not new to every Nigerians. The state of electricity in Nigeria, a reasonable number lack access to energy. And even those that were opportune to get access were grossly underserved. This might be due to so many reasons, but the major ones are the inefficiencies and the market challenges. These market challenges, there might be so many reasons as well why the market challenges, but there are notable ones. We can consider that among the notable ones, the issue of inconsistent tariff policy implementation, and possibly the issue of unsustained power loss. This power loss might either be the financial power loss or technical. So many effort has been made so far toward making this a history. But the major ones, which I think Nigeria can get it right, is by improving the level of collaboration of stakeholders, as well as adoption of renewable energy. This, of course, will really ginger the process and maybe take us to a step forward.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks so much. We'll look at some of those issues in detail and how they are being addressed. But as we introduce, we have here the Managing Director, CEO of the Rural Electrification Agency, Light Up Nigeria. And as our report has pointed out, a large population, especially in the rural areas, they do not have access to what a lot of people in the urban centers would know as the national grid. And in the face of inadequate alternative sources, what do you see in terms of lighting up the nation, particularly in the rural areas?
Basically, from our own perspective, the country now has a very huge advantage, huge opportunity to position itself. Like the commissioner rightly said, yes, we have the highest number of people that are without electricity access, but the present government is seeing that as an opportunity to position Nigeria to become the renewable hub. We have the natural resources, the renewable resources. We have high irradiation level. We have micro, small, and medium hydros, the biomass, the wind, more especially coastal states. So this is an opportunity for Nigeria now to take advantage, to turn this challenge of lack of access into a great opportunity. And we have the legal framework. Mr. President signed the Electricity Act of 2023, which basically opened the entire electricity market, give opportunity for the subnational, the more private sector participation, and the act also provide an opportunity to leverage on the available renewable energy opportunities to bridge the electricity access gap and enhance reliability, and at the same time also create localization of manufacturing of this renewable equipment in the country. So we have now great opportunity, and we are turning this challenge into opportunity.
Yeah. All right, thanks a lot. It's a great opportunity as you describe it, but Prof, there is a key aspect of your association: renewable energy, energy efficiency, because even what you have is a long way to efficiency. And so you're coming in on that premise to give us a background, your opening comments on this.
Yes, yeah, thank you so much once again. It took the renewable energy and energy efficiency policy of 2015 for us to move away from Nigeria's and the city that have been issued urban bias had to say, let us provide the alternatives. And the alternatives is the emerging renewable energy, especially solar. Solar, the technology is evolving, it's much more now. And go to the rural area that have more than 70–80% don't have access to this. And that's what informed REA, so to speak. And energy efficiency is a source of power as well. So it's not just renewable, it's a source of power, and it's something that we should not treat with levity. When I came in here, this is an efficient, this LED bulb, and you're saving energy and saving life and saving environment. So it's very, very critical. So you cannot, if you're discussing renewable energy, you can't dispense energy efficiency. They are intertwined. So it's something that you can. So I'm excited that that Nigeria has taken the bull by the horn, just like the MD said. The Electricity Act is the brainer. It's the that's going to show that Mr. President believes in the subnationals, you know, and so we need to devolve. You need to give power to the subnationals. So that's from centralization to decentralization. So, and it's something that Nigeria has been intentional about this, you know, and I don't want to, you know, I must say that the institution that was started with the responsibility of reaching the unserved are living up to our responsibility. So I'm excited with this conversation today and this evening. So a lot more is going to come out.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, the Electricity Act, we say, has opened up the space, and the subnationals are keen in. But let's zero in on one or two, particularly your state, Jigawa. Give us the scope of how you keen into this with the Rural Electrification Agency and what you've mapped out. And we'll take it from there and see just how expanded the space is.
Thank you very much. Just like what the MD REA said, as soon as this government arrives, That is 11 months of its inauguration. That is May 29. I think by June 2023, this Electricity Act was signed into law, which gave subnationals opportunities to venture into power sector. My state, my governor, His Excellency Malam Umar Enemadi, was in the front line of grabbing this opportunity. This led to the fact that Jigawa became one of the first state in the 19 northern state to sign the electricity law. Going by that, because this electricity law by the state is what it will enable, which it will form a framework. It will serve as a framework toward achieving or accomplishing this issue of central electricity challenges. So we were able to, and even earlier than that, in 2022, Jigawa already has signed into law what we call OJS policy, Off-Grid Solar Policy, even earlier than the Electricity Act 2023. So this goes to tell you that Jigawa is already in line, in the front line as far as grasping these challenges or this opportunity is concerned. Not only the policy, we also look at those two aspects, like I just mentioned earlier, the challenges faced by the market, the market establishment, that is the collaboration. So we look at this collaboration as very important aspect of establishing a very good state electricity market. So we extend ourselves to all the relevant stakeholders that will really help in achieving such. I can tell you that Jigawa is also among the front line, though that has signed MOU with Rural Electrification Agency as regard to deploying renewable energy sources. If not the post, I think maybe we are the PIPs in the all the state of Nigeria. And as I'm talking now, we have deployed so many upgrade and interconnected mini grids services within the state. The level of generation is improved, the level of distribution is improved, and so many of such. In addition to that, Jigawa been among the state with the highest opportunity of this solar irradiation. So among all the sources, renewable energy sources, we are among the advantaged states because our irradiation solar energy is between 5 to 7 kilowatt hour per meter square per day. So going by that, we are in the front line as well. Yeah.
We'll look at the scope and the models, the substantive models that the REA, for instance, has adopted in dealing with the states, and how these are impacting the populace. Largely, not had any access to energy, and now we talk of the renewable energy. And I'd like you to take into consideration cost effectiveness as well. So what models have you put out for the states?
I think the key model that is driving our partnership with the states, it's the National Electrification Strategy and Implementation Plan. And what Rural Electrification Agency did was, first of all, to carefully understand the Act. So apart from the fact that the Act has liberalized the entire sector, giving opportunity for the state, private sector to participate, also the Act emphasized the use of renewable energy to bridge the excess gap and create reliability, emphasize more aspects of consumer protection. We now decide on what is the best means of bringing all this, the private sector, the development finance institution, the state, the financiers, all together towards a common cause. And the first thing we did was to pick on the need to establish the National Electrification Strategy and Implementation Plan. And that is basically doing three things. First is to do what we call the state readiness. So we determine each state based on 5 criteria. What is the level of the readiness of that state in terms of whether that state have policy that can drive the renewable energy penetration, whether the state have data that is required, whether the state have funding or investment, or in their own budgeting cycle they provide some funding for electrification, whether the state also have provision for capacity in terms of development of youth that can be utilized for the deployment, operation, and maintenance of that. So we did this state readiness, and we have the outcome of that state readiness. Each state, we know where they are based on these 5 criteria. So that's the first thing. The second thing also that we did is to now map the entire state. When it comes to renewable or addressing electricity access gap, there are many instances whereby you will see states or even other government agencies, they just want to extend the grid, put transformer, and to them that is electrification. But there is the most economically viable means of electrifying each state. The second thing also that we need to even understand where are these communities, where they are, and what is their own uniqueness. So we did the mapping of the state, one, to determine the entire communities in the country that do not have this electricity, one. Secondly, to also determine what is the most economically viable means of electrifying that state. Should we provide the state with solar home system, or should we deploy isolated mini-grid, or should it be an interconnected mini-grid, or should we extend the grid in a situation whereby the community is very close to the grid? So we determine that, and we have that data with us. All the communities, the best means of electrifying the communities. Then the third thing also that we determine is to also identify some unique economic and socio-economic indicators with those communities. Because as we are driving, creating an enabling environment for the private sector to come and bring in their money, take also our own capital grant to electrify the communities, we need to provide them with to the minute of the data to help them make their own financial projection and financial investment decision. So we also determine this community, how many households, what do the communities have, even public institutions in the form of primary health centers or secondary health institutions or schools. What is the nature of the school? How many households are within this community? What is the estimate number of people within this community? Are there security incidents within the community? We all identify that. So this National Electrification Strategy and Implementation Plan has been concluded, that has the state readiness, that has the mapping of the state, that has the least cost of electrifying Nigeria based on at a community level. And we went to the National Economic Council, we presented it, a committee was set up under the leadership of His Excellency, the Governor of Cross Rivers, and that committee has also looked deep into that plan. And we are very optimistic in the next meeting of the council that will be adopted, and that would now serve as the blueprint of electrifying the country. And that is what the Honorable Minister of Power mandated the Rural Electrification Agency to do as a means of driving the entire stakeholders towards electrifying Nigeria.
Quite comprehensive, I must say, and we would look at some of them. And but Prof, take a look at this plan and apply it to the needs for many Nigerians. This should be happening yesterday. That's the sense of urgency needed now.
Yeah, first of all, that the balance, when you bend down, you see Abba. It's about humility. It's about the state seizing the moment. I think Section 236 says beyond the legislation put in law, the state should also begin to set up distribution companies and other infrastructure, other issues that we put in place, like the capacity building, resource planning, that the peculiarities is talked about now, the resource, you need to map out your resources, okay? In most states, areas has gone where we will grandstand. Somebody coming from US or Asian Tiger say, we can generate 1,000 megawatt for you. And you come and sign, you know. But now you can see there's an institution that is ready. Whether we like it or not, REA has over the years proven to have the data, they have the capacity. And that is why you can see the roundtable, the urgency. They didn't have to sit down, state, come. But then I said, okay, let's have a collaboration. Let's have a blueprint, an engagement plan, a readiness plan to say, we're going to assist you in terms of capacity development, in terms of technology. I mean, whether we like it, an institution that have the capacity, in terms of financing. In fact, I was encouraged yesterday, even Nigerian developers, okay, after this MOU, these are the developers that will help you to get to the States, you know, and the readiness, you can see the enthusiasm to move away, to have this energy access and security, you know, and we're talking about rural areas, having that access more than 80%, and the institution is doing, mark you, the REA is not taking their responsibility. We are saying, please be humble enough to accept the fact that we have the capacity to assist you to this roadmap. And that's what is happening. You know, I'm aware of over 15 states have engaged in this roundtable. More than 50%, that's the urgency. Very, very interesting. So Alliance is very happy with that. That's what we have been championing, mainstreaming renewable energy in national life, you know. And anytime I go in this roundtable, it gladdens my heart. Members coming in, developers coming in to say, we support this state with $15 million. We have this opportunity, $1 billion or something, you know. So the area is providing the enabler. And of course, area is not the end point, but this is just a small screen to say of a truth, we are ready. So states should buckle up. Mark you, Section 2 of that Act says, if you are saying beyond law, you still be at the wings and caprices of NEC. NEC will still be turning you around. So go beyond. So that's what I'm saying. So it's interesting what I've seen.
Well, at some point in this discussion, we'll take a look at what the Act says. And good that you brought up the matter of NEC, which will still be, I mean, it's the regulatory authority, but there are some issues we might be raising about that. But beyond the discussion in the studio, we also have a number of reports that speak to the issues. Let's start off with this one from Dute.
It marks a major milestone in the state's efforts to address energy challenges and drive development. The legislation provides a framework for expanding power generation and distribution, while also creating opportunities for private sector participation in the electricity market.
Jigawa conducted a state-by-state roundtable stakeholders engagement with the Rural Electrification Agency, REA, titled Unleashing Market Opportunities for the Centralized Renewable Energy Market in Jigawa State. This is no doubt that the potential and opportunities for development of renewable energy are limitless in Jigawa State.
To ensure smooth implementation, the Jigawa State government has established a dedicated Ministry of Power. The ministry is expected to work closely with stakeholders, forge partnership, and promote investment that will enhance electricity access across the state.
Jigawa State government is ready to collaborate with the private sector investors and development partners in mobilizing resources to tap into the potential of the sector with the optimal returns on investment.
Governor Umar Namadi announced that under the Nigeria Electrification Program, 21 solar mini-grid projects are currently ongoing across 21 local government areas. These projects are designed to bring electricity to underserved rural communities, many of which are gaining access to power for the very first time. Residents are optimistic the initiative will also open up new avenues for investment, job creation, and socio-economic growth.
All residents of Kafan Hausa, we are enjoying power 24 hours. We are very grateful, and people are willing to pay for the services.
By taking the bold step of implementing the Electricity Act, Jigawa has positioned itself in the north, with many hoping other states will soon follow suit. In Dutse, Awal Muhammad Kazauri.
Let's now get to see this other report from Oshogbo.
Electricity supply is critical to development. Osho State, particularly Oshogbo, had in the past enjoyed constant power supply due to it being the host of the National Control Center. But a gradual shift is now taking place, having looked for alternative beyond dependency on the overstretched national grid. The shift is now on renewable energy.
Yeah, renewable energy has a lot of advantage, to be candid and to speak the truth, because one, it helps to cut down the cost of electricity bill. Even in advanced countries that they have constant power supply, they are looking into shifting into renewable energy so that they can phase out the burning of fossil fuel, nuclear reactors.
These days, many people are patronizing us for solar now, maybe because of power interruption. So we have so many jobs at our site now that we are doing, because we notice that people are trying to kill him for solar.
Government and private players are rolling out renewable energy solutions, from solar farms to community mini-grids and household installations. The initiative is designed not just to supply power, but to build and imagine electricity market that is cleaner, more reliable, and more sustainable for citizens.
Yes, depends on the budgets. The solar accessibility has been made very easy, such that no matter how much you have, you can still benefit from it. Someone might be using a solar of just 30,000 naira and is still serving the purpose of providing lighting in the house. We have smaller ones like solar kits, lightings, and solar generator, mini generators, solar generators, to the big ones of 10 kVA, 30 kVAs, and from the industrial use. So for a common man, you only need to check your budgets, check your pulse. What can your budget afford?
In Oshogbo, more residents are beginning to respond positively. Small businesses that once struggled with daily power cut are finding relief in solar and hybrid system. For many, the difference is clear: uninterrupted service, reduced running costs, and greater customer satisfaction.
Before, we based on electricity and it's very highly costly, and now we enjoy the solar because it's more cheaper and give us rest of mind for now.
I prefer solar energy because it makes my business grow faster. It's a lot cheaper, and if government would subsidize the panel, it would help a lot.
At household level too, families are increasingly turning to rooftop panels to keep the light on at night and power basic appliances.
When it comes to solar, there's nothing like maybe badge A, badge B, and so on like that. Once we just install solar for you, you are good to go.
I will advise people to get it because it's very cheap and it's reliable.
Many still appeal for subsidized panels for access to every household or business owner. For Osho State, there is a bigger picture, which is economic transformation. By embracing renewable energy, the state government is attracting investors, creating opportunities for energy entrepreneurs, and preparing its people for the realities of a decentralized electricity market.
In Oshogbo, Femi Afaregun.
From Oshogbo, we move on to Uyo. That's where our next report comes from.
Estimated billing should come to an end. We have been to court with PHED because they were estimating bills to an old woman who lives in an old house, 130,000 naira per month, when the woman is not doing anything.
Plan that their transformers folded up, some as long as 10 years. Some, they are not even connected to the national grid.
For many years now, we keep having these epileptic lights Only of recent that we start seeing light. Start seeing light coming.
In some communities, 10 years going, 6 years going, 2 years, no power. It's not like the government did not provide electricity. The government has provided transformers, has provided lines and everything. The only thing is that when these transformers go bad, the company that is called in charge of that, they do not act promptly.
These are the issues that have over the years bedeviled households and small business owners across the country, and these concerns do not seem to be going away anytime soon. Little wonder that most persons are now turning to other sources of cleaner, safer and more stable energy. The emergence and sustainability of this renewable energy, from solar power to smart charging, relies basically on technological and innovative solutions. Patronage for renewable energy sources seem to be on the increase, with producers and marketers confirming a booming market compared to about 5 years ago, pointing to a challenge in the public power sector.
Since I started using solar in my house, I no longer buy fuel, noise pollution is the worst for me. You know how my neighbors will be having generators in their house. Once they switch it off, that is when you can sleep. But in my house, there is no noise and I'm enjoying it seriously. I come back anytime, any day, and I have light.
The patronage is very high. Like basically me as an agent, I have about 570-something customers, which I've sold the product to.
Experts in the industry agree that a solar energy source is a welcome development to ease the pressure on the national grid, especially because it is easier to maintain and at no running cost. But then, a lot still needs to be done.
PHED should not be the only company, selling power to us. Let there be other companies coming in to sell. The market should be open. We'll continue with advocacy and we'll sustain it with advocacy.
No doubt, stakeholders hold a notion that renewable energy has socio-economic and environmental benefits. However, its high cost makes it far from the reach of many Nigerians, hence the clarion call for government's intervention to make it easily accessible. In Uyo, Edidioniba.
All right, a mix of opinions from across the country with regards to alternative sources of energy, and in this case, cleaner and more sustainable power. But there's a bottom line here, and this is where I want Prof to come in. Cost. It might seem all nice and good, but that is still staring the people in the face. And when you've made your comments on that, we'll come to the MD of REA, and we'll still talk about costs and other factors.
Yeah, before, let me speak to the review. You can see the mediums, small scale enterprise,
small and medium,
which is the engine room of any economy. You can see them speaking that have been issued. Now that I'm into solar, my business is booming. There's agricultural sector too, the post-harvest loss that you're going to contain, even the medical, the hospital. So in solar for health, maternities, you can see mortality rate will reduce and all that. These are some of the obvious opportunities, advantages. The issue of course, we have so debated, argued it, but that's what we call co-creation and blended finance. If you come here and tell me that you're going to use loan is not sustainable. So there's the blended finance scenario. Commercial loan, they can't use commercial loan here. So that's the thing. In the alliance, we have, I don't want to mention banks here, we're into opportunities for developers to come into co-creation, innovation blended finance that will enable, okay, if the interest rate is 25%, can we have 9%, give us 9%? When the project is very successful, then we can, the other 16% can be paid by the institutions that are backing up that.
Yeah, because I was just going to say, how does that work?
That's what I'm saying. That's the point. It's about innovation. I'm trying to say that if the interest rate is 25%, but under 25%, we cannot get it. But because there are windows of funding, grants and all that that are coming, institutions, IFC, there are so many institutions that are coming to support. So under blended finance, you can have, give it a single-digit rate, and when the project is successful, remember it's not the developing institutions that are backing it up can show up to pay their standing 16% as the case may be. So upfront call as much as possible. That is why we in the Alliance we've encouraged banks to begin to ensure that the developers are given the single window, and we have preached co-creation and blended financing. I'm sure the MDRE will be able to elucidate further. The truth of the matter is that we are looking at beyond the sustainable profits. There are two things also. We seek to achieve social objective, employment creation. 1 megawatt of solar you deploy, there are over 3,000 jobs in the value chain. That's a number. The environmental sustainability as well too. There is an opportunity, like I'm sure they are looking at the carbon market, the carbon opportunity, the emissions that are being saved by deploying 1 megawatt of solar. So you can see the social and environmental objective. So we cannot look at the profit alone. So if we are looking at the costs, we need to look at the whole gamut of sustainability. We'll make sure that we cannot, developers, we don't encourage banks to go into the commercial loan. It will not work. And we've been saying it, and so far so good. And so many banks, there are banks that are coming into the blended finance and co-creation innovation that will enable us to be into this business. But upfront costs have been issued, but with these windows of funding now, Green Climate Fund that is there now, Nigeria has DBN that are implementing entity for Nigeria to access these Green Climate Funds. Nigeria has an entity where we are looking for Bank of Industry, to NASA, to also be part of an implementing entity that will enable us to access these funds. The funds are there, but the most important thing, we don't have institutions, implementing entity that will enable us to access these funds, but we have one now that is on, and that is DBN. So far, so good, we're on track. Initially, because of the oil, we are so entrenched in oil that we don't want to go into this this sector. And this is a sector that is, we're coming up, and I'm very glad that Nigerians are waking up. There's the act, like I said, is a brain. 90% of production of that act is on renewables, and the opportunity that we really need to seize the moment right now. Okay, yeah.
MDRE.
First of all, we need to look at the opportunity cost of not electrifying these communities, just like what Prof said. What's the cost of not providing this electricity is huge. And that is why now, in the wisdom of the federal government, what we are doing first, looking at the costs, is to de-risk the sector, which by extension will have an impact on the tariff, which is the retail cost of the electricity. So the first thing that this present government did is signing the biggest publicly renewable funded project in the entire world. The 750 million US dollar funding to de-risk the sector. And Mr. President signed this funding, and the Rural Electrification Agency already had started implementing the project with an ambitious plan, one, to electrify 17.5 million Nigerians by deploying 1,350 mini grids and about 12 million solar home systems. Now, the cost of electricity is contingent upon the total cost of the infrastructure, deploying the infrastructure. And if you, for example, take a solar farm, there's the panels, there are the inverters and the batteries. And in many instances, we build the distribution network to make sure that we take the electrons from the plant to the homes. We also, based on the learnings from the on-grid, in all the projects that we deploy, we ensure 100% metering. and even deployment of SCADA system so that we can monitor the electrons that have been generated and been consumed. So these are things that we do. So what the federal government is doing is risking the costs by inviting the private sector and providing them with capital grants to incentivize them to go to these rural areas. And by extension means reducing the tariff, because the private sector now would deploy the infrastructure at a lower cost. And that means that lower tariff. So that is what the federal government is doing. Yes.
When you speak of lower tariffs, how does that reflect on the regulatory, body that fixes it?
So for the off-grid, the regulation is not like that of the on-grid. Right. So for the off-grid, the regulation provides the private sector to maturely agree on a tariff with the community. Once you sit with them, inform them of the infrastructure and tell them the potential tariff that you would charge, and if the community agrees with that, you do. Of course, there are some limits that the regulator will not agree to. So that is the uniqueness, and that is why the off-grid sector becomes commercially viable and attractive to the private sector.
So the big elephant is actually the on-grid.
Yes.
Which people still battle with. But of course, part of the Electricity Act would cover the matter of a more efficient. I earlier referred to the aspect of efficiency in the whole chain, and that is what the country is still grappling with at the moment. But let's get to hear of the Jigawa experience from the commissioner who's here with us.
Let me start by maybe dragging us a little back from the comments made by the MD REA. Yes, when you talk about, because all this that we are talking about is going around within the establishment of the state electricity market, right? Because without the market, all this can never be the way they are expected. Long before even the Electricity Act, Jigawa has already embarked in some of this implementation strategy, in a sense that, like I said earlier, Jigawa already has an off-grid solar policy since 2022, which means an enabling environment is already there for investors and all other stakeholders. And even the state itself, in a case whereby the state is willing to invest as far as the off-grid solar services is concerned, you can consider the intent and how we can key in and align with the existing policies. Long ago, Jigawa is also considering the unserved and underserved areas, and major, because this issue, of course, has to be considered, of course. MD has already said it, that sometimes it's not economical for you to extend the grid. Looking at the cost, is an alternative way. You can simply go to that community and have an off-grid system. Now, Jigawa already embarked on that long ago, because we do such services at the ministerial level. We have an agency responsible for that, Alternative Energy Agency, which is more than 10 years back. Even before the establishment of the Ministry of Power and Energy, this agency is existing under different ministries. It started from the Ministry of Women Affairs, then later Environment, and finally now under the Ministry of Power and Energy. Under that ministries, we do offer these solar home systems to villages, areas that are underserved, and they are apart from the off-grid networks, which we consider as the cheapest way of supplying them. That is one aspect of it. Another aspect is the issue of cost. Yes, deploying the renewable energy, be it solar, be it the CNG, though the CNG is emerging now, the initial cost is really at the high side. But thank God, with the coming of with the policy of the federal government through RIA, this has been a bit minimized because so many investors, so many developers are doing this solar energy as a service that really directs the entire system. And if you look at from experience, in Jigawa, there were so many locations that were underserved and have this off-grid. At a start, you may think that they cannot afford it. But as I'm talking now, they are even agitating for a higher capacity of what has been deployed to them, meaning that we do operate on what we have. It's not that we cannot afford, but we operate on what we can be able to access. So if the access are there, the issue, of course, will also go. And if we look at we compare the deployment cost and maybe the running cost much together, then we can definitely say the renewable energy sources are no longer costly, going by the deployment cost and maybe the running cost as well. To conclude with the efficiency that you mentioned, to have energy access is one thing, then to have an energy efficient. I had a professor even commending you with the kind of energy efficiency gadgets that we witness. We have long way to go as far as Nigeria is concerned. There was a time that we attended one engagement in Morocco. As of now, Morocco is no longer battling with rural electrification on the sub area or whatever. In fact, I can tell you that in Morocco, more than 99% is being electrified. So their issue now is the energy efficiency, how you can use the energy efficiently. They already have an agency responsible for that. So from a word to go, if you want to, deploy any infrastructure, then there are guided policy that you have to follow for you to make sure that you use energy efficiently. So actually for Nigeria, I can say we have a long way to go. Why? Because as of now, we are even battling of how we can make the energy access to be, available in our area, in our localities.
Well, Prof, you do hear a lot of people say we're not a very efficient people. I mean, in virtually all aspects. And in energy, it's not an exception. Where you even have the access and the distribution is fairly adequate. The question of efficient use still comes in. And if you look around, you can easily see huge avenues of energy going to waste.
Yes.
So
Sure.
How can this be tackled?
It boils down to one word: capacity. Capacity development. One thing is to, I keep saying that you mentioned that Morocco, Egypt, the MENA region, they've gone far because they were intentional about how to bridge this gap, reduce the efficiency there. First of all, capacity across the value chain, in terms of engineering, in terms of design, in terms of credit writing. So there's so much how this inefficiency. Where ignorance is a terrible thing. And the moment we set a roadmap that we want to improve energy access and security, one thing that is uppermost for us is to look at the value chain. Within the clean energy, like I keep saying it, that the moment we sit down, like the resource mapping, each state have its peculiarities. And I say, look, based on comparative analysis, each state has this. And look, I don't need to go into hydro if I have a comparative advantage over solar, and vice versa. Okay, so we just need to, even at the local level. So the point I'm making is that resource plan will provide, where we intentionally follow it, it reduce this inefficiency. I have known that my state has this available resources, then I'll prioritize. Like within the confines of Nigeria, if I'm to prioritize, one is clean energy, that's natural gas. We have it in abundance, okay? Because, of course, as 2020, COP26, it was seen as a transitional fuel to enable us to power our sustainable future. If we were intentional about it, where are the states that has a competitive advantage? Solar radiation, solar electrification, it's an advantage for us. So I cannot be going to invest in biomass, put money there. Solar, you have the technology is evolving, whether it's mini-grid, solar home system, and all that, okay? That's the priority. The hydro. So see, these are, when you map, that's what the resource mapping that will reduce inefficiency. But when you grandstand and you kill units, so it boils down to 6,000 megawatts, 7,000 megawatts. But we can see what we are doing now, in the next 5 years with this, what area is driving, you can see it's possible for us to, even our NDC, the 13 gigawatt, that 3,000 megawatts, is attainable in the next 5 years and more. That's the point. Let's be intentional about this. That is what I'm saying. Thank God for now. Like I said, Electricity Act is the brainer. And we have started the roadmap towards Scotland. I don't discuss 6,000 megawatts again. In the next 5 years, I'm looking at about 10, 15, 20,000. The MENA region, talk about Egypt, the DG of Egypt on electricity told me last year at Energy Power in Lagos, this is what we did, capacity development across the value chain. We were able to contain that. Egypt, go and Google, 80 million people, they have more than 60,000 megawatts or 70,000. So that's it. But that is the right way to start. Nigeria have started. And I must tell you, off-grid is, I'm not saying we can put solar in the grid too, okay, because embedded generation, you can also put solar in the grid, okay, I don't have a problem with that, But the off-grid, which is the point, the untapped 80% of Nigerians. Now look at young entrepreneurs, having access to this energy. There are three things that this green energy does: build livelihoods, improve the quality of life, and alleviate poverty. That's it. So I'm happy that's the sing song now, clean energy. And the opportunities are so huge. So I don't think of inefficiency. I'm sorry, I'm not against oil and gas, though. I'm sorry, this inefficiency I'm talking about, I'm very, very sorry. I keep saying when oil was discovered in 1956, in terms of entrance and exits, not more than 50,000 people have been employed since 1956, the present. Quote me, be it an NPC, IOCs, but here, 1 megawatt or so is deployed, 3,000 jobs in the value chain. So efficiency is, we'll look forward to that. I look forward in the next 10 years, you see what we're going to witness here. But with natural gas coming in, so I'm excited about what I'm seeing in Nigeria, energy mix, yeah.
At this point, thanks for staying with us. Thank you for staying with us. Now, this segment is where the program gets interactive. The numbers will be on your screen. It means you can call in and contribute to the discussion here in the studio. We always say this: if you're calling in and your call gets through, turn down the volume of your TV set. That's the way to avoid the hurlback or the echo. We also encourage you to go straight to the point so others can also get on the platform. One way to know if your call has been passed through to the studio is you'll see your name appear on screen. Once you see that, you just go ahead with a contribution. Don't worry too much about the greetings. Just a simple hello will do. So, we did say before the break that overcoming limited technical and financial capacity would be where to go. in addition to other matters with regard to other sources of clean and renewable energy. So we'll start off with the Chief Executive Officer of the Rural Electrification Agency.
Yes, so the solar technology has proven to be the most effective and cost-effective means of providing distributed renewable energy, not only in Nigeria but globally. But the Rural Electrification Agency is continuously testing other sources. Just recently, we have started the deployment of another big infrastructure in Gombe State and in a farming community community called Balanga. This is a community that has about 11,000 hectares of wheat farming, and there's a micro hydro there that REA with the state government and UNIDO, United Nations Industrial Development Organization, came together to partner to deploy 620 kilowatts of electricity, 320 to be generated from the micro hydro and 300 from solar. That has already started. We have finished the design of the solar power plant. So that, and what the good part of that project is going to be the most cheapest tariff hybrid mini grid in the country, because you use two different renewable sources that are very cost effective. We have tested biomass in a community in Adamawa State, but the fact that the refuse that we were using to generate the additional electricity was where the dumping of the refuse, it's in different places. So the logistic cost of moving the refuse from picking it from one place to another to the processing plant and generate the electricity increase the tariff cost. And that is why we are yet to see it as a viable means. So what Rural Electrification Agency now is doing is looking at other alternative sources. We are now looking at small wind. We just signed an MOU with the National Wind Council of the Nigeria, a think tank that looked into the wind energy as a way of deployment of electricity. So we are looking at that. If the numbers, the economics, that is the total cost of deploying that infrastructure, amortized over a period of time, give us a tariff that is within the range that is acceptable to us, we'll deploy that electricity. So we are looking at wind, we're still looking at biomass, but solar, micro, mini hydro are cost effective, and we'll continue to deploy that over a period of time.
Well, in the strategy map, which you developed, certainly some states you'd see across have a comparative advantage when it comes to some of these other sources, either the biomass or the mini hydro. In fact, some of them, you wouldn't even refer to them as mini hydro.
Exactly. That is why we call them micro hydro. So there's the micro hydro, there's small hydro, and the big hydro. So, but within our remit, we are only looking at the small hydros and the micro hydro. The hydro, because it takes a long period of time, the cost of deploying the hydro plant, it's very high. That is why you are not seeing a lot of traction within the Rural Electrification Agency in that regard. But for the solar, the radiation level across the country, it's economically viable for us to deploy that infrastructure. And that is why if you go to Port Harcourt, you will see us deploying our infrastructure. If you go to Oyo, if you go to Lagos, if you go to Akwa Ibom, if you go to Calabar, just now we are about to complete a 7 megawatt in Cross River. We are completing an 11 megawatt in Port Harcourt. We are designing as floating solar for the University of Lagos in Lagos State of about 8 megawatts. So we have seen that viability, and that is why solar, wherever we go, we can still deploy it, and it will be within the cost range of our acceptable cost range.
Commissioner, let me come to you. It's all nice and good. You have deployed and you're beginning to see the results. However, there is this plague which you find in the country most times. We start off, everything is fine. The infrastructure is there. But we talk about aging infrastructure. Even with solar, we've seen examples where solar has been deployed in the public space, and over time, we begin to see that it's not nearly as efficient as we thought it would be. What has Jigawa mapped out to overcome this? People will tell you it's an endemic disease in this country. Did you look at that, and how are you planning to overcome it?
Thank you so much. Actually, this issue of sustainability is paramount and is also one issue that, if not taken seriously, all the efforts so far been made, in no time it will vanish. Thank God we are collaborating with the MD, and I know this is one of the key areas they are giving cognizance, the issue of sustainability. That was why even the development, the deployment of solar mini-grid, interconnected mini-grid, there is a model they call energy as a service. And that's what brings about even the developers, the grant, and also the intermediary, which the RIA now play that role between the developer and the community, and also those that give the grant. So with that model, energy as a service, this will never happen. And I know this model came up as a result of the so many experiences in this sector. Another thing that I just wanted to mention is the issue of energy mix, that MD also has spoken about. I could remember this hydro mini grid. He mentioned Jigawa was also part of the state that participated in the plug up of this UNIDO project. UNIDO intended to deploy one side from each of the 6 geopolitical zones. In the northeast, that was when Gombe became the luckiest one. I could remember Jigawa was also part of it in the northwest. And all the preliminaries, the resource mapping, and all the requirements that is expected of Jigawa has been done and submitted to UNIDO. This is part of the collaboration. You know, Jigawa has, is in the front line as far as collaboration is concerned. Any opportunity we see, we grab it. So we are also part of this unit, and we are anticipating, we are expecting that maybe after that of Gombe, Jigawa will be next in the northwest as well. That's our prayer. So, in a nutshell, this energy mix is the key. Because it's just like saying that you cannot put all your eggs in one basket. You have to have, despite the fact that, yes, some of the renewable energy sources are challenging to some extent, yet we need not to ignore them. Like, for instance, Jigawa became the first state to embark on the CNG initiative after the federal government initiative on the CNG. Jigawa initiated the program. As I'm talking now, we have already, despite the challenges we are facing, because we are among the disadvantaged states as far as CNG supply is concerned. Yet we embark on the program because we are anticipating, going by the federal government airport of Abuja, Kaduna, Kano pipeline, which is expected to be on by ending this year. So even before then, we have already embarked on that in an effort to have the energy mix as required.
Prof, the matter of sustainability, and then we'll come to the MD of RE, see how those projects. how they will survive?
It's just like it boils down to the same capacity. You know, somebody say solar does not work. It's not true. It's not true. Alliance have signed an MOU with NEMSA in terms of certification. Some people just, because it's easy way, people just jump in. You can see solar inverters, artisans, and all that. They're not trained. They need to be trained. Okay, because you see somebody all of a sudden, he goes to Asia and get this and have one or two, one institution, Moshow institution, one week given a certificate, and you go and mount the rooftop, and tomorrow you say solar does not. So there are standards. SON and MEMSA. These are institutions that, like Alliance, will be signing a MOU with NEMSA in our conference coming up on the 23rd on how to retrain artisans, retrain solar installers and all that. And that will be a long way towards the sustainability. Solar works, and I keep saying that, so that idea that solar does not work is not true. And I believe the other institutions want people to take good by the horn that standardization is very key. And that's the way for sustainability.
You hear people talk about the matter of panels, that's with regard to solar, the panels, the batteries, and knowing that if these are produced within the country, it will go a long way to bring down the costs. But again, the question would be, how far as a nation have we gone towards ensuring that these are produced within? You still have this argument, panels coming into the country and imported, and some people claiming that no standards have been set for the issue of all of these. Okay, we have a call coming through. Olariwaju calling in from Abuja. Hello, Olariwaju. Go ahead.
I can go ahead?
Yes, please, go ahead.
How's it going?
Yes, Olariwaju, go ahead.
Thank you very much for hosting this talk. It's very, very informative. So my question revolves around maintenance of infrastructure, especially solar panels and the associated infrastructure. I know for solar panels and how it's able to trap and disperse energy is really dependent on how clean it is. And there's a lot of work and effort that goes into maintenance. Is there currently a scheme involving the maintenance of these infrastructure to ensure the maximum potential and generating potential of these panels are optimal and the efficiency is always at the top level? All right.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it ties in with the question we're raising with the MD of the Rural Electrification Agency.
Yeah, so for us, sustainability is even much bigger than what we are all saying. I agree with you, there are a number of solar deployed infrastructure that are not working. And this is because deployment of solar project is being seen as just what we normally do in our own homes. Just putting the panels, inverter, and light comes and you assume that you have deployed solar. No, that's not the case. For us, we put in place different strategies to ensure sustainability of our intervention. First among it is to make sure that no public projects, no projects it's deployed or designed with total entire public funds. We make sure that there is a private sector funding that is being bring. Once you have the private sector with a skin in the game, that means that the private sector must have taken an equity or debt, which means by extension they must ensure that that project will operate over a very long period of time for them to recoup their debt or equity, or to even get some level of profit. So that is one basic sustainability that we put in place. Now, but however, there are projects that are totally government funded. And that is why recently the Honorable Minister of Power, and that is one of the advantages of having the Minister of Power who is finance-oriented, approved the creation of Renewable Asset Management Company. This Renewable Asset Management Company is going to catalyze the operation and maintenance, the question that Olaruwanji just asked. We are going to create a subsector within the renewable energy that would create different companies that are into operation and maintenance. So all the assets that have been deployed using the government funding are going to be innovated to this renewable asset management company. So if you go to University of Abuja, we have 30 megawatt power plant. If you go to University of Port Harcourt, we have 11 megawatt. The same thing at Maiduguri, we have 12. All these assets will be under in the balance sheet of this renewable asset management company. And the asset management company will do two things. One, would catalyze the creation of the operation and maintenance, would advertise for private companies that are specialized in operation and maintenance to apply to meet the due diligence requirement of the RAMCO, Renewable Asset Management Company. Then they will now be given the responsibility of operating and maintaining this asset over a period of time. That is one thing. But the second and even more important thing that the RAMCO would do is to optimize the utilization of federal government asset. So we have this big asset in the University of Abuja. If it is just generating the electricity, it's doing one thing. But we can still take this asset to leverage on it and get more funding to go to Duse, to go to Bayelsa, to also do the same thing without recourse to depending on federal government budgeting cycle. So we are using the asset to also generate more funding to do more work.
All right, let's get back to the phones. We have Adebanjo. Okay, Adebanjo, that call has dropped. Okay. Yes.
I need to add to what...
Yes, please.
There's something Edie forgot. Under your Energizing Education program, beyond those deployments, I can see the students were also training the trainer to manage that infrastructure. I was part of the team that trained with Alessio Kweme, the one in Benue State, and all that. So it's something they put in that sustainability measure. It's not just deploying it. They're also training the trainers. Students themselves, they became involved. They took ownership of the project. So it's something that I need to point out here.
Yeah. Okay. In all the universities, from soil testing to commissioning, we are involved 25 STEM students. They're there. And just even last week, we were in Maiduguri where we commissioned the training of 100 University of Maiduguri students. And in all the universities that we deployed this infrastructure, we are using training 100 additional students hands-on, because the infrastructure is there. Let them have a practical experience in operating and maintaining these assets.
Right, let's go on now and to the phones. Claytus from Ogoja, go ahead. All right, another dropped call. I'll just try and call in, and we hope that we can take in more of your calls as we go on. Well, still speaking of the maintenance, which you have now clarified what you've put in place to ensure that these are going to be steadily maintained. The other aspect of it, of course, is ensuring that some of these inputs are locally manufactured.
Yeah. So that is also another huge area that the present government is doing. Before the coming of Mr. President, the total PV manufacturing capacity of the country is just 120 megawatts, but at presently we are talking about 600 megawatts. Today, incidentally, the Ministry of Finance Incorporated, Infracorp, Rural Electrification Agency, and Solage, a French company, just signed today the investment and offtake agreement for the establishment of 1 gigawatt PB manufacturing plant in the country.
Okay. Let's just ask you to hold on a while. We have Aliu calling in from Taraba. Hello. Yes, Aliu, go ahead. Go ahead, Aliu.
Hello, good evening, Uncle
Good evening, go ahead.
I want to make a comment on this partnership between the Federal Ministry of Health and the Federal Ministry of Power recently. It's very, very impressive. If this kind of collaborations will continue, health service delivery in Nigeria will improve to a very larger extent. For instance, if you go to federal medical centers in almost all the states, you find out that they are grappling with electricity problems, which result to lack of good services rendered to our patients. So once this collaboration is enhanced, you find out that our populace will have good quality health and Nigeria will prosper. So I want to comment on these partnerships, and it will course across almost all the sectors so that Nigeria will move forward, because without power, there will be very difficult to have the progress. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much, Ali from Taraba. Well, yes, we're just going to emphasizing the impact on healthcare delivery, particularly with the REA installing. And I did hear you talk about what you've done in tertiary educational institutions. One of the interviews I did some time ago, I had tertiary institutions complaining that they were about to shut down over the matter of inadequate access to power and all of that. Prof, let's look at
health.
At that.
The health now, not the whole, if I'm to prioritize, okay, I'm not going at the teaching hospital, I'm looking at the maternity itself.
Yes.
Mortality. You know, for now, let's have the solar home system in the primary healthcare, the maternity, at the maternity level, okay, so that the mortality rate, infant mortality will reduce, so to speak. So that's why we need to begin to prioritize that. I like that. I'm sure the essence of that partnership between Ministry of Power and Health, that's the priority, because when you have a constant power, so and women delivering, and you are sure of it. So
let's take this other call. Musa calling in from Zuba. Hello, Musa. Go ahead.
Okay. I think I want to thanks for this particular program. And also, I want to ask these questions to the panels. Is the regulation of the power sectors is really affected? Because if you remember during the time of Obasanjo, when he deregulated the communication sectors, we saw the impact positively in this particular time we find ourselves. So I want to advise the government, if it is possible, to deregulate the power sectors. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Well, a part of what the Act has done is to widen the scope, and Prof, you'll comment on that.
Yeah, that's devolution. Yeah, that's exactly what we are saying. That that there's liberalization. The state now have the power to generate, distribute, transmit. So that power is being given. Yeah, for the subnational, even at the local government, local level. Even though the state is not encouraging the the local government to do, but I believe that with time. So it goes to show that in the long run, there will be competition. Everybody wants to, in terms of energy access and security, to be assured. Like I said earlier, if they go beyond legislation to put all the infrastructure in place, look at their resource mapping, they have enough capacity, finding finance opportunities, technology and all that, if they're intentional about what they want to do beyond legislation. So I believe that it's a win-win. It's an Eldorado for us. And I would have, when you have an institution like Ari providing the guide, the father figure, not that with time, they're still crawling. When they grow, they can be able to balance. Now, we are guiding them, because like a father figure, so to speak. Because you see, the Ari, they were very proactive. If you look at it, if they were docile, they would have been thrown out by the act. But you see, they were proactive. They said, okay, let's engage you people. And that's why I'm excited with what is happening now. So I give kudos to the leadership of REA for what they've done so far.
How far can states go under this arrangement in developing their own power initiatives?
Let me speak on behalf of my state, though even for the other state, because in some of the gatherings we are having on the forum of energy commissioners, we have heard that so many states are in the race. And I'm sure each and every state is making its own effort toward moving to the next steps. But as far as Jigawa is concerned, the issue of localizing the manufacturing of solar PV. Let me say this, Jigawa has already embarked on deploying 100 megawatt solar power grid owned by state, not 100% owned by state because of the issue of sustainability, but the PPP arrangement with the Chinese investors. And part of the arrangement is to even manufacture the solar panels within Jigawa. Being that Jigawa has an advantage of bordering about 3 states, or in fact 3 countries, Niger Republic, Cameroon, and Ghana. And with the advantage of us having the export pre-processing done in Megatari, it will be easier for us to, whatever is being produced in Jigawa will be easier. Like, I can say that Jigawa can serve as a gateway. So we're already into it. As I'm talking now, we embark on the feasibility studies to prove to the investor that, yeah, this is really a feasible project. So going by that, we think the deployment of power will also be on an increase, apart from the MOU that Jigawa also signed with the DISCO operating within Jigawa, that is the KERCO, operating between Kano, Katsina, and Jigawa, in an attempt of the state to make sure that the energy access is improved. So it tends to, strengthen the KERCO operating by signing an MOU and purchasing an additional share within the company just to strengthen their operation within the state. And the MOU sign, part of the agreement in the MOU is improving the generation as well as the distribution network within the state. So that and part of the achievement so far made, thank God that you have even displayed it here, is the deployment of interconnected mini grid of 1 megawatt, with many to come. So with this and so many other investments so far been made and on the way, Jigawa is really making a progress.
Okay, let me put this to the MD of REA. What strategies have been adopted in the deployment? Would it just be by request of, when you carried out the mapping of your strategies? What are the criteria for the deployment of these projects? Would it be just on request, or the viability of a project in the state? I'm asking this to find out just how you ensure equity in equitable distribution.
So there are different criteria that drive the siting of our project. The first criteria, which is the basic one, is the private sector driven criteria. The private sector use the data that we provide to select a site. To go to the site, engage with the community, agree on the tariff, design the mini-grid, deploy the mini-grid, and get the capital grant from us using our own technical standard. So that one is private sector that decide on where to go. But there's the second level of the criteria. The second level of criteria is impact-based. So we use the data, determine the key areas that are of their need of this intervention, and will give maximum impact using least cost. And I give you an example. Currently, Rural Electrification Agency is building 42 interconnected mini-grids to inject close to 180 megawatts of electricity into the national grid. Since the time of Azura in, I think, 2012, there's no any major electricity project that injects this apart from Zingeru that Honorable Minister commissioned. This injecting of this projects was determined by rural electrification based on area of need. So we determine areas within Yobe. We are injecting close to 30 megawatts in Yobe. There's in Oyo, Ondo, Lagos, Adamawa, Kanu. All these areas were mapped based on what is the large chunk of population of people that you can inject this megawatt and easily of taking, utilize, paid for, and impact this number of people. So that is the second criteria that we use. The third criteria is also criteria determined in collaboration with other sectors. So for example, the energizing education program that we're doing, you spoke about the need of the universities. Currently, we have provide hybrid mini-grid in 15 universities, all completed, all generated. If you go to University of Abuja now, you will see that they are on our mega mini-grid. So 15 universities have been done. So in citing such project, we decide on the location in partnership with the ministry, the parent ministry, in this case, Ministry of Education. They dictate to us where we should site this for also maximum impact. We are even currently undertaking another project with the Ministry of Education at TETFund, to also deploy another 12 in 12 educational institutions. In the health, also we partner with the health. We have deployed 100 containerized mini-grid in the health institution, and all this was provided to us by the Ministry of Health, who knows the sector much more than us. So these are the three criteria that we adopt in citing it.
What has been from your, just before we come to you on that, we have this call coming through from Birnin Kebbi. Umar Anache calling in from Birnin Kebbi. Umar, go ahead.
Good evening. Good period. My name is Umar calling from Birnin, regular caller.
Yes.
I'm on my gen. And I promise you that I will make sure that always I will.
Oh dear, Umar. I don't want to believe that we've dropped that call. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm sure that Umar is going to call back. Consistent caller and very regular on this program. So I do expect that he'll be calling back, and we'll take that call once it comes in. Now, I was going to say, what's your assessment of the reception these projects and initiatives have received from the communities?
There are different reception that we received in different communities. even in the public community, that is the universities, there are communities that you will go and you get so much joy to see how they receive just the mere information that an infrastructure will be deployed. Not even seeing the infrastructure, just telling them that we want to deploy this. You will see so much joy. Some of them want to even give you traditional title. Some of them would do a lot of ceremony to receive this information. So we have seen that. And we have also seen a situation whereby you go to government, a public institution or public community, and the reception, it's not so well. They would keep asking questions, throwing different challenges for you. And we tend to involve, maybe before we penetrated the universities, we had to involve the regulator, the Nigerian University Commission. In all our deployment, in all the design of the program, we do that. That helps us to ease the process of getting the needed reception for the infrastructure to be sited within that. And I even tell you, for our interconnected mini-grids, we connect with the distribution companies. Initially, it was a battle. Distribution company doesn't want area anywhere around their franchise area. But as at now, distribution company are being more proactive. They just gave us 650 sites for us to deploy the interconnected mini-grids. And that is why we picked the 42 that we are currently working on. Nobody thought in the wildest dream that distribution company would be begging Rural Electrification Agency to come to their franchise area to deploy infrastructure. So it has changed, and I think the regulator played a key role in getting that changed.
You know, there was a reason I was raising that, and I had wanted Prof to comment to that because it's well known that sometimes projects go into certain areas and then there are obstacles, there are demands. And those have been responsible sometimes for the awkward deployment.
Yes.
Let's take this call. There's a caller on the line. We can't. All right. If you can hear me, just go ahead, introduce yourself. There's a bit of a challenge getting your correct name, so go ahead and just tell us your name and go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. Which calling from Abuja.
All right. Go ahead.
Now, what of if you take it like this, and somebody has a plan, you have to carry that plan. Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Are you hearing me?
Can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you. Just go
Hello?
ahead. Yes, go ahead. Now you're a bit clearer.
I want to ask if in the town and somebody has a plan, a bigger plan, can it extra power, can carry it?
It's a little bit difficult to get that. If you have a plan, oh dear, there's a lot of interference on the line, so it's extremely difficult to get it. Are you still there? Okay. We'll try to figure out what the last caller was trying to say. There was so much interference on that call. I'm not quite sure you got that. All I could get from that was if you have an individual plan. Well, I don't know what that goes on. Yes, Prof.
The sing-song now is we have moved away from shareholder phenomenon to stakeholder. Stakeholder phenomenon. It's like a cooperative model because we are looking at climate change now. This model will build around we need to cohere, we need to be intentional, we need to save the environment. So, in other words, you know, communities are meant to take ownership of the project. And that is why it seems as if with stakeholder engagement and all that, there was a rapport between DISCO and so you said this a continual discussion. The thought is their own. But now, because we need to, because for sustainable any project, the community must take ownership of it. How do they do that? They design a cooperative model, you know, in the process of even revenue and all that. If you discover that these codes are no longer, even though they have access to collect revenue, but under a cooperative model. So that is the one model that has made some of these projects to cohere, to last. And that is what, in line with the development thinking, you know, we must move away from shareholding to stakeholding, take ownership, have a corporate model. So that beyond, we want to protect the environment. I want to make sure that the environment is like an egg, you need to pamper it. So if you leave it, it may break. So that is what I want to point out there. And it goes to show that at any point in time, the institutions should not relent in their opportunity to map out the stakeholders, whether the private sector, the government, the civil society, you know, even the community themselves. So let them as much as possible. And that is why I keep saying that, you know, this project is still public sector dominant. The public sector still drive the process. It's still public sector dominant, and they still drive the process. So giving the enabler for the private sector to come in. So that's...
Yes, along those lines, you said still public sector driven.
Sure.
Increasing private sector participation.
Yeah, with the enabling laws and you know, enabling laws, because you know, for private sector to come is a function of law and the potency of the investment. So with the enabling laws like the Climate Change Act, the Electricity Act, and all that's in place now, the enablers now are in place for private sector. But however, I keep saying that there are still, like under the alliance, we got 10 risk measures. We got the policy risk, which we have addressed, the climate risk. You talk about the technology, those technologies that that need to change. You know, most technologies now, especially in the hydro environment, for over 20-25 years, they need to. They are so obsolete, as a matter of fact. So you have, you also have the regulatory risk. You have the political risk now. Right now, I've been issue where government have taken the bull by the horn.
Right.
And
you know, speaking of the political risk, and that's a question we reserve for the Honorable Commissioner.
Yeah,
he will be in a position to tell us about that and surmounting the political risks of these projects.
In terms of sustainability.
In terms of sustainability.
Okay. Actually, going by the model that has been adopted, the political, you know, we direct the entire deployment in a sense that, you know, this regulatory framework will really help a lot towards addressing the political risks, actually. And all the model that has been deployed in all the activities, you know, is being guided by this law. And this law is something that has been guided also, because even though the state has its own law, that does not mean the federal government does not have a stake in the state, because in as much as the national grid cut across your state, and there was no state that doesn't have that such. Right. So you know, there are some limitations even toward that, despite the fact that there might be change in government. So with this policy framework, it might not be easy. The political risks will affect the entire deployment. Actually.
Well, it cuts across all the states.
Yeah.
And how much of an impediment do you think this could pose towards integration? You've just said that now DISCOs are collaborating with you to deploy the assets around the areas. But again, you have a larger issue of regulatory agency at the federal level, even though it's minimal in the off-grid sector. But since you're contributing to the national grid, those challenges might also come about.
And that is why the National Electrification Strategy and Implementation Plan and the state-by-state roundtable, in the first report that Joshua, you showed, you see that the executive governor of Jigawa State mentioning the fact that the state participated in the REA state-by-state roundtable. We have done 15 states, just like what the prof said, and that state-by-state roundtable is our own opportunity of bringing the subnational to tell them what is already happening, and telling them that this sector is driven by the private sector. If you don't, as a state, put your house in order, you would drive the private sector. Remember when I was telling you the criteria of citing the project, private sector determined the first criteria. If you put impediments within the state, the private sector will take their money and their resources to another state, and that state will be disadvantaged. So this is exactly bringing the state with the executive governor, telling the executive governor the implication of taking any decision that it's not creating an enabling environment for the state to be aware of the consequences.
We have only a few minutes left on this program, and we always take this time for our guests to round off and give their closing thoughts on the issues we've been discussing. And so we'll do the same right now and wind down this discussion. We'll start off with Prof. In a nutshell, this is the wrap-up of
the day is bright. The day is bright. It's bright and fair for Nigeria. Oh, happy day. That's a nursery rhyme of yours. I would say that less more of collaboration, the public and private sector. The enabling laws have been put in place. Let's make the law much more robust. Let the state take the opportunity beyond the state laws that you have, you have made. Make sure the other infrastructure is put in place. Make sure you have under a PPP model as much as possible. Try and make sure that opportunities are there. Like a state government wants to say, I want to bring 50 billion, put 50 billion for the private sector to come in. Let it not be a loan form of. Try to create a blended finance scenario where these private sectors can come in and latch in there, that opportunity. So, and also, as much as possible, capacity development. Try as much as the engagement with the area is well-intentioned and it's noted. They should not relent in their efforts. They are still a child. They are crawling. When they become a man, they can. But as much as possible, right now, when you bend down, you see Abba. So without humility, they are bending down, getting to engage those that have the data, those that have the capacity. So with time, I believe that they'll go beyond what AREA is doing for them. But so far, Alliance is very happy with what is happening in the space. And of course, we are the clean energy. You say what's happening in the clean energy must happen in the oil and gas. And we have seen it. So it's, even though it's not yet the hero for Nigeria, but I can see the silver lining.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So, MD, as you look beyond what's available now, I also like you to quickly touch on how many communities so far and your projections, given your strategic map of where you think in the next couple of years you would have reached out to.
We have electrified more than 8 million Nigerians. We have deployed close to 200 mini-grids across the country that are working viable. This is excluding the mini-grids that have been deployed in public institutions. And we are now, based on one project alone, we are working towards deploying 1,300 mini-grids to electrify 17.5 million Nigerians. In the history of Nigeria, there was never a time that the government has been so deliberate with funding, with infrastructure, with a strategy to address electricity access gap like what is happening now. Not only addressing the infrastructure, but also addressing the manufacturing and the assembly. on the 14th and 15th, for the first time also in the history of the country, the country will host investors that already have invested in manufacturing or assembly or planning to invest or are even not in any way even thinking of investing for the first National Renewable Energy Investment Forum in Nigeria, where we are anticipating to sign close to 5 deals of deployment of close to 3 gigawatts of PB manufacturing in the country. A lot is happening in this space, and Nigeria will start to feel the impact of this very soon.
All right. Dr. Suraju Musa?
What I wanted to say is that, Jigawa State and the Jigawa people are lucky to have a financial expert as a governor, Malam Umar Enema, the FCA. That really, propagates to so many achievements so far made as far as energy is concerned. When you talked about the impediment and also maybe the deliberate act or the political will of a state, I laugh from inside. Why? Because we have, MD can even testify to that Jigawa is lucky to have a governor with the political will and who is deliberately addressing all matters, with sincerity, and his experiences on the finances give us, bring Jigawa to the front. I can tell you that during the stakeholders engagement we do with the Rural Electrification Agency, like I said earlier, Jigawa State was the PIPs in the list. That is maybe only 4 states did their own before our own. We had a testimony from RIA itself that there was no state earlier than us that, perform us and also may have investor participation as far as the rural electrification stakeholders engagement is concerned. And as a rider to that, even after that stakeholder engagement, number of investors that approach Jigawa are on the increasing list.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, and I will round off by referring to one of the respondents on one of our reports who said they now enjoy electricity supply 24/7, 24 hours a day. And I like to say I envy those communities that have that. It's much more than I can talk about here. Living in the city. Perhaps it's time to consider going back to the rural areas and enjoying these facilities. But on that note, we'll have to leave this conversation and thank our guests for being here. Engineer Suraju Musa, Commissioner for Power and Energy, Jigawa State, thank you so very much.
You're welcome, thank you.
Right. Abba Abubakar Aliyu, Managing Director, CEO of Rural Electrification Agency of Nigeria, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And Professor Magnus Onoha, President, Governing Council, Nigeria's Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Association Alliance. Thank you. It's always a delight to have you.
Thank you, sir.
Right. And that's our program today. We thank you for watching. Next week, we'll be back with NTA Tuesday Live. This happens almost all the time. Next week, we'll be back with NTA Tuesday Live. I'm Cyril Stober.